How would you describe what that moment is like when they tell you that they have to take your children away?
Time feels frozen in that moment. Everything's completely different than what it was before.
This is Alexis. 6 years ago, her children were removed from her home and placed with the other 400,000 children in the U.S. foster care system.
There are horrible things that happen to children that should never happen to anybody. And those kids need to be removed. But the majority of the time, they want to provide for their kids, but they couldn't because of the circumstances related to poverty.
This is Adrien Lewis, and he has a vision to fix America's foster care system. It begins with real-time support to families in crisis.
So I'm starting to see so many of these alerts pop up from all over the country.
Wow.
CarePortal is getting over 100 requests every single day from government agencies all over this country. We have found a way to leverage technology to bring disconnected people around serving families in crisis. Just coming alongside a family with the resources you have can be the difference between a family staying together or kids having to go somewhere else.
Adrien's project is incredibly ambitious, but could an app actually be the missing ingredient in keeping these families together?
The only constant my children ever had was me, and that was taken away from them.
This is Stand Together Presents. Stories, ideas, and advice from changemakers tackling our biggest challenges.
The foster care system is the most strategic place for systemic change in our country. Why? Because 50% of the homeless, 65% of girls rescued from sex trafficking raids, and 75% of those incarcerated, they all spent time in the foster system.
Like legit, I think the problem that I hear you guys saying is when the agency enrollment happens, like you're on that page.
We have these world-class platforms like Uber and Airbnb. They have created value because they are bringing together multiple sides of the marketplace to do something together. And CarePortal is the same thing for the social sector. And one day I'm sitting in my office, and the vision that God gave us was how to connect kids and families in crisis with a church in proximity that wants to help to do the very thing that is so close to his heart, to care for the most vulnerable in our midst.
CarePortal is a platform that connects social service agencies and families in crisis with mobilized faith communities, businesses, and individuals who provide relationship and resource support. Agencies upload details about a family's urgent needs, and then an alert will go out to the network in real time.
They can get a push notification or an email or a text message that says, "Help prevent a child from entering foster care." And you have just the opportunity to respond and say, "I can help with that part. I can go meet that family. I can provide that bed." And the next thing you know, you are connected with that caseworker and that family to engage and make a difference. Before my wife and I got involved in the whole foster care system, I gotta be honest, I had some pretty bad perspectives. I thought that the kids who were removed from their parents and put in the foster care system, that they were there because they had bad parents who didn't care about them. And I am so glad that I was wrong.
There's all kinds of reasons that children and families are brought to our attention.
This is Jamie, a social worker who worked for Missouri's Children's Division for 10 years.
I would say that primarily we had a higher number of kids that came to our attention because of concerns for neglect, whether that be emotional neglect, physical neglect, medical neglect, educational neglect. It can be really frustrating to see when families are really trying their hardest but just don't have what they need to take care of their kiddos. Being in poverty and facing housing needs, that can be really isolating, and they don't have a natural support system in place.
Poverty is the thing that can keep people on the edge with no margin, right? So you're a single mom and you're doing the best that you possibly can. And the first time you break, that's when it happens.
She was 1 year old. This was over at Jennifer's house, actually. So we've got Olivia, Melanie, Lucy, and Shiloh.
And what was it like, having 4 children to take care of, but living on your own while working full-time?
It felt chaotic, it felt stressful. It was kind of like just always being in like survival mode or like fight or flight mode.
On top of all this, while Alexis was at work, a friend who she trusted to watch her children also physically assaulted her daughter.
They had told me that my daughter had been violently physically abused and that the only thing that could reasonably explain her injuries was that she had suffered from blunt force trauma. And I was at home to know what happened. I think your mind goes to, how do I fix this? What do I do? And our lives were just like ripped out from underneath us immediately. Everything that we knew before was no longer. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's fine.
Alexis's case was particularly difficult to read on a piece of paper. I remember it just being heartbreaking to think about what that family had endured, what those children had gone through.
The only thing that I had any understanding of was that I needed to be separated from my children. It was actually me that reached out to them and had expressed my concerns and made it very apparent that I do my best to provide for these kids and I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that they return to my care and custody.
In child welfare cases, the state makes a list of requirements to ensure a child's safety, which are uploaded to CarePortal to alert the community response teams. One of Alexis's requirements was for a mentor relationship, and the person who responded was a woman named Jennifer.
I was reading the message and I was like, this is for me. This is the one that I'm called to answer. Alexis's story is my story. The abuse, the family problems, I was like, that's what I went through. And if I could save one person from making the same mistakes that I made and help them be a better parent, I felt like that was it, that I had done exactly what I was called to do. Hey, Olivia, what's up?
I know I have someone that can help guide me through like moments of frustration or confusion or concern. She's been a great support for myself and the children.
How are you? Good, good. The relationships empower people in ways that they never thought that they were going to be able to be strong. And sometimes it's just giving them love and just loving somebody that hasn't felt love in a long time.
So at the end of the day, what CarePortal is really trying to accomplish is to create meaningful connections whenever possible. Because it's those meaningful connections that change the path of people's lives. And we end up being a far stronger community because of it.
With Jennifer's support, Alexis was able to get her kids back within a year.
The amount of time that it took for my children to come home was the fastest turnaround that they've ever seen.
What was it like, finally going to sleep that night, knowing that your daughters were down the hall or in the house with you, asleep next to you?
Every single one of us was just so happy to finally be reunited with one another. I wouldn't say not a single one of us got an ounce of sleep that night.
Today, Alexis and her children are moving into a permanent home. Jennifer and members of her church response team are helping to prepare that space.
I'm Team Alexis. Yeah. That's what I am. I'm gonna make sure she has the support and love she needs when she needs it. My relationship with Alexis, if I have it my way, will never end.
It's been 6 years since that day, and today I am a teacher. I am a business owner. I also have the support of Jennifer and her entire family.
CarePortal is currently in 30 states and has served over 200,000 kids and their families, and projected to serve over 1 million people in the next 5 years. But Adrien is looking to expand the model outside of foster care to effectively empower more people out of poverty.
The reality is, it's not a lack of resources in our country that is creating poverty. Poverty is a trap, and every citizen has an opportunity to help other people through that trap. We could radically transform the effects of poverty in our country if we create this vast care-sharing network where all these folks in the community who are doing their part to empower every human being to care for another in their moments of need.
Stand Together partners with changemakers tackling our biggest challenges. To see more stories, follow our channels. And to learn more about how you can partner with us, go to standtogether.org.